right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Yang Knowles. I'm a VP of Product of Katalon right now. So today we're gonna have a webinar about the new features of Katalon Studio 7.6, which just released a couple days ago. So our main speaker today gonna be Tai Nguyen. He's the sales engineer at Katalon. He in charge of like helping new customer to get over with the technical issue or problem they might have. And we have Tanto. He's the sales engineer at Katalon. He in charge of a lot of features that you guys using or might be using in the future. So if you had any problem with the features, so you know who's looking for. So for the agenda of the webinar today, first of all, I will quickly go through the Katalon introduction, and then we will go to the main part of the webinar with the demo for the features in Katalon Studio 6.7. So we have new cell healing introduced in Katalon Studio 7.6. And we have the new improvement for the retry mechanism and also the capability for you guys to debug from a specific point. And we also have new features that allow user to override the browser time or the profile, the test suite collection. So for the 4 features that I just mentioned, we focus on improvement the execution mechanism in Katalon. So as we all know that execution is a very crucial part of automation testing. So with the new features, we aim to have a more like smarter execution, so more dynamic, flexible, and more efficient for user to work with the execution in Katalon. And then we have many other features that cover in multiple areas, just like in mobile testing, API testing. Also, we have the new capability to import script from Selenium IDE into Katalon Studio. And we also have improvement for keyword using in Katalon. So let me go through a very quick introduction about Katalon solution. This is mainly for people who haven't had a chance to know about Katalon and Katalon Studio yet. So for Katalon, we aim to deliver an all-in-one solution for customer and user throughout the custom continuous testing pipeline. So Katalon Studio is our main product in solutions. So this is a product which can help you to generate and execute the test. We cover API testing, mobile testing, web testing, and also desktop testing. So more of the end application that you guys are using right now. So with Katalon Studio, you guys can use it not only on Windows or Mac, but also can use Katalon to develop your script in Linux. So with the various deployment environment that we have, this allows you guys to use your favorite environment. You don't need to switch to other in order to use Katalon Studio. And other than Katalon Studio, we also have like Katalon Recorder or Katalon, which is also text generation tool in other platform. And we also have like Katalon TestOut, which is in the beta mode. This is a report and analytic tool. With this, it helps you to have an overview about the quality of your project and also have data to make you make a better decision. So for Katalon solution, we cover most of the environment that people encounter. So we have for mobile, we have for Android, iOS, and when for browser, we also have like a popular one like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and also like Safari or at Chromium, which is just really recently. In Katalon, we also have ready for the cloud environment, such as AWS, Azure DevOps, or Docker. this is going to be the foundation for using Katalon in the cloud environment. Okay, so we'll let you guys wait more. We're gonna go to the main part of our webinar today. So Ty, can you go ahead with the demo for the self-healing feature?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Can you share me this?
Okay, I will stop sharing my screen and then you're gonna go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get started with my part, I suppose. Okay, present. So hello everyone. So I'm Ty. Okay, so now let's talk about the first feature. So this is the latest feature that we had just added this into our arsenal. So this feature will help you to not only tremendously accelerate the task creation process, but it's gonna be also facilitate the maintaining procedure by nearly half the time you used to do with the older version. So what I'm talking about is this new feature, self-healing. So this actually a really new term in Katalon Studio, but is it built upon the old feature that you might already be familiar about, but now we had just bring it up to another level. So let's get things started. So basically, if you had used Katalon Studio before, like from the version 7, you're gonna get familiar with the feature called the the smart expert that could help you to do the smart healing on the test object. But up until now, before this version, all it could do is to capture multiple experts and just stop in the expert itself. So there's no support for the CSS or there's no support for the attribute. So I know many of you guys is more familiar with the CSS or more familiar with capturing the object using the attribute compared to the expert itself. So, and we now has developed a new feature called the self-healing that could help you to facilitate your recording and spying process. So without any more talking, I'm gonna jump straight up into Katalon Studio and show you how this feature work out. Okay, so let's get started with Katalon Studio. And I think this kind of a new kind of UI that you are seeing here. So instead of the smart expert that you might get familiar with, now we got the self-healing icon over here. So click on this icon and open the self-healing setting. Now you can go into the setting for the self-healing. Okay. Sorry, I'm executing the project. Yep. Okay, so this is the self-healing setting. So basically what you are seeing on the screen here is that the self-healing gonna use all of these 4 element locator method in order to have you to locate your element on the web page. So for example, when your first element failed, like all of the expert that had been captured has been failed to be able to determine. So it's gonna go jump into another kind of method that's using the attributes, or it's gonna go for using the CSS, and at the last resort, it's gonna use the image to locate your element. And you can see here we got the move up and move down. That means you can choose what kind of priority that you want to try it out. So you can move CSS up onto the top priority, or you can use the expert or attribute first. And under this, you can see the exclude object using with the following keyword. So that means maybe sometime that you want your test to be failed using the keyword like verify element present or verify element not present. So in that case, you will not want the expert to fall back to another kind of locator method to try again, right? So we already added this feature to prevent that case to happen. Okay, so now get back to our slide. Let's get with the scenario number 1. So we're gonna show you the demo page that you're gonna have this element in here. And for example, with your development team, before they want to use the object ID that is a combo facility number one, but some new project manager or some new software architect come in, and he decided that no, that's it kind of stupid, and he wants to have another object ID that is just combo facility. But it's gonna lead to the outcome that's all your test automation suite that you had built up until now, it's gonna be fail because the locator has been changed, right? So, but for example, you using Katalon Studio before, and you already captured the object itself using the self-healing. So this is what gonna happen. I'm gonna show you by this test case. Okay, so let me executing this test case and show you what happened. Okay. Oops, sorry. So you can see it cannot find the element of this make appointment button, right? So it's gonna fall back to you another type of the expert that's, but it's failed to use the expert, so it's attempt to use the screenshot. But yeah, because I'm touching the screen, so let's run it again. Sorry. Okay, so as you can see right here, it successfully clicked on the button make appointment, right? Okay. Yeah, maybe something happened with my mouse, but yeah, it should be so. Let's try with another test case sometime. Okay, now without touching anything, it's work. Okay, okay, and as you can see, it's successfully healed by the self-healing. But how to see what had changed and how to see what has been healed by the self-healing? So we provide you the tab called the self-healing insight over here. Okay, and then when you click onto this path, onto the tab, you can see what has been failed, like the broken locator. It can show you here, and what is the proposed locator proposed by Katalon Studio, and what kind of the selection method has been failed before. And you can click on here to preview the screenshot that has been captured, the new screenshot. Yeah, this is the one. And if you want to approve all the change, just click on the approve and click on the save button. And now just run again and see the speed of the test case is go back to the normal. Okay, so that's the point of using the self-healing aspect. So actually you don't have to put your effort into maintaining or to creating the new expert as you're doing with another testing tool, or you're doing with the old version of Katalon Studio. For example, the version before the version 7. So that's what the new feature and that's what the breakthrough that we are made at Katalon Studio now today. Okay, and you can see it's here. So we're gonna move to another example. And right now we're gonna use the image locator to healing instead of just using the CSS or using the Asphalt. Okay, and now I'm gonna show you the demo. This is a really long test case, so please stay tuned. So basically you can see it's like using the image locator is like the last resort, the final fallback strategy, so that it might take some time to actually being able to interact on the locator and all the element. But you can see it's gonna reduce tremendously the flakiness of the test cases. And that's what the point that we want to make here. Like it's gonna have you to easier to maintain the test case and will have you to reduce the failure and the failure test case in your report. Okay, so that's the point of using the image locator as well as the self-healing. You can see in the insight here, it has shown you that it's gonna be recorded by the image by clicking on this image in the button. Okay, and now it's gonna try to click on the add to cart button. Yep. Okay, so you can see the test case has been failed here, but because it cannot find the text, yeah, something has happened inside the test case, but you can see all the locator has been healed. And now you just need to click on approve and try to run the test case again, and you can see the result now has been changed. And the speed of the test case is smooth again, like directly after you had just capture and play it back. So no more waiting for the test case to determine on the image, right? Yep, so that's the new feature of Katalon Studio for the self-healing for you. Okay, so right now I'm gonna move to another feature that's called the retry immediately. So what I mean by retry immediately. So for example, you have a test suite. Okay, so for example, you have the test suite that's combined by these three test cases. I know this is not the best practice, but please bear with me for that. So I can show you this new feature in the most easiest way. So for example, you have the test suite that's do the flow of login and book the appointment and edit the appointment. But for example, if you fail at the login test case, so there's no point of continue to the book appointment test case, right? So in order to prevent that case to be happen, so for example, if you are failing at the login test case, so the book appointment test case is basically it's gonna fail too, but it's gonna cost you the time to waiting to running the full test case and maybe the full test suite. So maybe your test suite is not just combined by the three test cases, but it can also combine it by like 20 test cases, and it already filed by the first test case. So there's no point for you to put like 1 to 2 hours just to wait for the next 19 test case to be failed, right? So, okay. So for example, I gonna run and I gonna enable the retry execution immediately in the execution information. Okay, now run it. And you can see this test case has been failed already. So there's no point of continue on the booking appointment test case. And now it's gonna retry again on the first test case. But for example, if it still failed, right? So in your report folder, you can see directly what the test case that has been failed. Like you just gonna have one test case only in your report, and you can see directly why it's failed and the result of it. So your debugging step is gonna be much more easier. You can directly go for this test case. You can directly determine what is the fail test step in your test case. And now you just need to go back to your test case and maybe open the debugger and do something to fix this test case to be able to run again. Okay. So that's it for the second feature. And to conclusion, so the retry immediately is gonna have you to retry a failed execution of the test case immediately. And it's gonna have you to reduce the unnecessary execution time, and it's gonna shorten the feedback loop. Now we're gonna move to the third feature that I'm gonna show you today is the debug from here. So what is this new feature that's debug from here? If you have been familiar with Katalon Studio before, you might know about this start from here feature in the menu view, right? But it's missing something. Like in the real case scenario here, you can see this is a really long test case. And for example, when I first executing it, this is, I'm trying to executing the test case, and you're gonna see the test case gonna be fail soon because something is not true, something is not right in this test case. And the test case will fail, right? But I cannot determine what is the problem. And for example, back in the day where before the version 7.6, if you want to do the debug, you need to start the test case again and using this debug button. But right now in the version 7.6, you can put the debugger here and you can just click on debug from here. So you can saving yourself from running all the above steps, just directly run from the debugging point. And now the debugging window has shown you, and I had just determined that there's something wrong with my variable username here. So instead of getting the first element in the list, I just accidentally getting the second element from the list. So instead of the number 1 here, I should be put in the number 0 and try to run the test case again. Oops. And as you can see, now the test case has been passed without any problem. So that's the point for us to using the debug from here. Now go for the another feature that's gonna have you to saving the time to setting in your CI/CD pipeline. That's the override the browser type and profile in test suite collection. So back in the day, for example, if you have the test suite like this, you have multiple test suite inside the test suite collection, and it's run using Chrome. And for example, if you want to have another test suite collection that's running with the Edge browser, there are two things that you can do. One thing is that you're gonna change in the run width 20 times, for example, or you're gonna create another test suite collection, yeah, and change the information in here. So it's gonna cost you a lot of time. But right now with the new feature, all you need to do is just to override the execution profile and environment of all the test suite in the test suite collection. Just by simply provide the test suite collection name and provide the browser that you want to run with and the profile that you want to run with, and click on the override the execution profile and environment of all the test suite. And after that, you just need to generate the command, and Katalon gonna do everything for you. And right now, all you need to do is just to put this command line interface into your CI/CD pipeline plugin and click on the run. And it's gonna save you a lot of time to manually go into the test suite collection and change all the run width and profile manually. So that's the point of using the overriding of the test suite collection information. So to summarize what I had just said, so it's gonna save the effort of plan and maintain your test covering in the multiple environment. And it's gonna have you to dynamically plan your tests in CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so I think that's was it for my part. So I want to introduce you, Tan, to continue the presentation today. Hello, Tan.
Okay, thank you, Thai. I'll take it on from here. Okay, so let me start my screen. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. So I'm Tan. You can call me Thomas. I'm an engineer here in Katalon. So you may see me on the forum helping users. So today I want to talk to you about some of the improvements of Katalon Studio, besides some of the major features such as self-healing and retry immediately. So the first area of improvement that I would like to talk about is mobile testing. So before Katalon Studio mobile testing capabilities were a little bit immature in that when you record or spy an object, you have to rely on the attributes of these objects in order to determine the locator. And to resolve that issue, now in Katalon Studio 7.6, we support the feature to automatically generate the locators for different strategies. So I will show you that first, and then I will show you how that can improve your mobile testing execution speed up. Okay. So now I have prepared a test case on Android. Actually, I'm gonna record just a very simple test. It isn't a test really. I'm just gonna record some steps. Okay, so the first thing you can see is that the mobile recorder UI has been reworked to be similar to that of the Windows recorder. So this provides a seamless experience on both mobile and desktop development, test development. So just choose an application and then start a test. Okay, so as you can see, I'm gonna click on an object and then tap on it. and then a step will be recorded in the mobile recorder. And if you switch to the tab Capture Objects here, you will see that this is the new UI for the capture objects. Previously, now this is the old section, the properties of the web element, but now you can select other strategy and generate the locator for it. So if I choose, for example, class name, and then I click on generate, it will automatically generate a locator for this strategy, and likewise for other strategies as well. And then you can also click on highlight here to verify whether or not the locator is correct. So in this case, it selects 2 elements, so we probably not going to use that. So one of the downfalls of Katalon Studio's previous versions is that it relies too much on attributes in mobile recorder. So for web recorders, the recording capabilities are very mature, but for mobile recorder, previously we have to rely on attributes a lot. So we have to look through these attributes to determine which attributes to be included. Now for the newer version of Katalon Studio, we can just easily click on any strategy that we think that will be best for our case, and just click on generate. And that will help us speed up the development process of mobile test cases significantly. Okay, so that's the first improvement in mobile recorder. The second improvement is actually regarding the speed of execution. So this first bullet point here, it improves the execution time on iOS. And the reason is that before, XPath was the default strategy for mobile recorder, and XPath was not recommended by Appium. And I'm just gonna show you the video that I prepared before. Now this is an iOS application. We are opening the mobile recorder on iOS application. And what I'm doing here is that I will compare the locator iOS class chain to the XPath locator. So first of all, I'm gonna generate a locator for the iOS class chain strategy. So as you can see here, it takes 155 milliseconds. And now I'm gonna generate the XPath locator. And as you can see, this takes almost 400 seconds. And so as you can see here, there is an improvement in the speed of locating element, but this example doesn't really do justice to the possible improvement that these features can bring you. So the underlying reason that XPath is so inefficient and not recommended by Appium is that because when using an XPath, Appium has to convert the whole page into XML and then run the XPath on that XML and then convert the result back to the mobile element. So this whole process is very time consuming, particularly for large pages. So if you have a mobile application with many elements, a lot of elements, this strategy, this feature, the iOS class chain strategy is going to speed up the locating time, the time it takes to locate an element significantly, and thus speed up your execution speed significantly. So as you can see here, one of our users on the forum has experimented with iOS class chain and XPath, and he found that the execution speed can be improved by 80%, which means from 10 seconds to locate an element down to just 2 seconds to locate an element with the class chain. So as you can see, this has and this may have a large impact on your mobile testing project. So that is 2 improvements in the mobile testing area. So I'm going to move to the next feature that I would like to talk to you about, which is Selenium IDE migration, import, yeah, migration, import, whatever. Okay, so as you may already know, or you may not, Selenium IDE is a very popular tool for test generation because it is very lightweight, and then the recording and playback functionality is very well developed. However, it has some drawbacks such as maintenance, because in Selenium IDE, you don't have page objects model or object repository. You have to maintain the elements in all tests manually, have to update them whenever the locators change. And the second drawback is that there is no test data driven testing. So you cannot scale to test enterprise requirements, which require application to be tested again, all kinds of inputs. And the third downfall is that there is no reporting mechanism. So reporting is a very important function of testing departments in order to communicate with stakeholders. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to justify the cost of automation and all that. So Katalon Studio actually supports all of that. The maintenance supported by the object repository, the data-driven testing capabilities. It is also supported as well, and very well supported. And then the reporting mechanism is also reported, and it is built in. So it is very easy to generate reports and then use that to report to your managers or stakeholders. So there is clearly a benefit for migrating from Selenium IDE to Katalon Studio. Now, before this functionality, there is no easy way to migrate a Selenium IDE project into Katalon Studio. But now with this feature, that possibility is now enabled. So I'm gonna show you the test case in Selenium IDE, actually. So let me open up my browser, and then okay. So as you can see, this is a Selenium IDE test case. I'm gonna open the extension. I think it's somewhere around here. Okay. So I'm gonna open a Selenium IDE project, and then I'm gonna show you how you can migrate this project into Katalon Studio. So first of all, there I prepare a Selenium IDE project here. So as you can see, this is a test case. So Selenium IDE project has a test case and then a test suite. If you go into here, and then you can see there are many test suites, and then test cases are inside test suites as usual. So I'm going to show you how to migrate this project into Katalon Studio. And this import functionality has a very interesting property that the test suites in Selenium IDE project will be mapped to Katalon test suites, and then the test cases in the Selenium IDE project will also be mapped to Katalon test cases. So essentially, it's just a one-click process. So just like I did, if it was too fast for you to see, I click on File, Import Selenium IDE project, and then just select the Selenium IDE project file, which is this one, and then click Open. So after it's imported, the test switch will be automatically open for you. Okay, so as I said before, the test cases in Selenium IDE project will be mapped to the Katalon test case. Particularly, it was mapped to this test case login. And I'm gonna switch to the script mode so that you can see. So this is the view of the imported test case. So as you can see here, Katalon Studio has done some steps to ensure that the web driver is compatible, this line, and then it is open properly, and then closed properly. And like I said before, test suites are also imported as expected. So this is Selenium IDE import feature. So to prove that that this migration feature actually is worthwhile, I'm gonna execute this test case, and it should work just fine. I'm gonna put my hands off the laptop so that I don't interfere with anything. It is slow because I'm opening a lot of applications, so please have some sympathy for that. And password, and then booking an appointment. It's rather slow, sorry. Okay, yeah. So it has successfully passed, as you can see here, because the test case originally didn't include a closed browser. So it wasn't imported, the step. Yeah, but in general it works, so who cares? Okay. That's the Selenium IDE migration feature. So obviously, there are some works that you must do in order to completely migrate to Katalon Studio. For example, you have to manually refactor all these locators into test objects, but this feature will save you really a lot of time when migrating to Katalon Studio from Selenium IDE. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next feature. And it's custom keywords browser and inline-help. So first of all, custom keywords is a very useful concept in Katalon. They are pieces of code that can be used easily by inexperienced users. It offers great value when your team is transitioning from manual to automation and therefore cannot hire too many automation experts. So custom keywords enable only a few automation experts to develop a test framework, which then can be used by other less experienced members. So it is a valuable feature. So in Katalon Studio 7.6, there are some improvements regarding the custom keyword. So the first improvement is in terms of the documentation, or how you look at a keyword and understand how it works so that you can use it properly. So before, in order to understand how to use a keyword and to see the documentation, you have to visit the file in which the keywords were defined. So for example, this is a custom keyword. So you have to visit this keyword in order to see this Java doc, the documentation here. And for a big test framework where there are many custom keywords, a lot of custom keywords, this process is very time consuming and slow down the development process significantly. So now in Katalon Studio 7.6, we have supported a feature which you can easily understand how a custom keyword was written. So this feature is called inline documentation, and it means that from the view of the manual test case, you can simply hover on a step which use a custom keyword in order to see the documentation here. So as you can see, this is a Java doc of the custom keywords. So you can just easily hover on the keywords to understand the parameters, the return, and the exceptions if exist, if documented. So this feature helps you speed up the development process significantly. Okay, and the second improvement is regarding the discovery of custom keywords or the how you find the right keywords for the job. So before, you have to in order to find a custom keywords, you have to go to the keyword browser. But before, in Katalon Studio previous versions, the keywords browser displays custom keywords just linearly. So it doesn't have any structure or hierarchy or groupings of custom keywords. So this, for a big test framework, will mean that you have to browse through a lot of custom keywords before you can find the right keyword for the job. And in this version, in 7.6, we have supported a feature which is in Keyword Browser. We have displayed the custom keywords in groups. So as you can see here, besides the general folder, which is the default folder for all custom keywords, you can now define your custom group that custom keywords will belong to. So for example, this keyword belongs to the group called login. And how you specify this group is that there is a little syntax that you can use in order to use the keyword, which is, it is this keyword, okay. And I'm talking about this keyword. Okay, so this is the syntax that you have to use in order to define the grouping which this custom keyword will belong to. So it's very simple. This is the name of the group that you want. So this is login. So that's why in the keyword browser, we display this custom keyword under the folder login. So as you can see here, if you have a lot of custom keywords across many functionalities in your company or in your testing project, you can very easily create separate folders or separate groupings of custom keywords. And then the process of discovering what custom keywords will be needed for the job will be sped up significantly. So that is the value of this feature. And the documentation must be written in Javadoc syntax, just a small reminder, okay? So that is the improvement in the custom keyword browser and inline-help. The point of this improvement is to speed up the process of locating custom keywords and then understanding how the custom keywords work and then finding the right custom keywords for the job. So that is the point of this feature, okay? Let's move on to the final feature that I would like to talk to you about. This time, the area of improvement is API. So there are cases where the server doesn't specify the timeout for API calls. So previously, Katalon Studio relies on this parameter that the server responds. But if the server doesn't specify, Katalon Studio will just wait indefinitely. And now you can configure the API timeout, which is the amount of time before an exception will be thrown or an error will be thrown during the process of calling an API. And I'm just gonna show you that. So the easiest way to see is go to project settings and then in execution web service, you can see here there is timeout. Connection timeout is the amount of time to wait before the connection is set up. So if the connection is set up, the process takes longer than the specified amount of time, an exception will be thrown. And second timeout is just the time it takes to receive a response. Generally speaking, I mean, that's the idea. So you can specify a number here, for example. And then if the connection setup timeout is, the connection setup time is exceeds this number, an exception will be thrown. But to demo that, I'm gonna have to simulate a busy network. Not gonna do that because it's not easy. So I'm just gonna talk to you about this first improvement. And then the second improvement I'm gonna show you, this is easier to demonstrate. The second improvement is response timeout. So AKA max size configuration. So as you know, when we download a very big file, when we call our API to download a very big file, our response is just very big. Katalon Studio will wait for this process to end, and if your internet connection is bad, the process will take a very long time. So you can use this new max size configuration in order to avoid that. And then the more important use case is that it will help you to test the acceptable amount of time that users will have to wait for your API calls to complete. So if you have a threshold, you don't want users to wait more than 400 milliseconds for any response. You will just set for the 400 milliseconds here. And then I'm gonna show you how this works actually. I gonna open an API object that I prepare. And this just calls a public API. And I noticed that the amount of time it takes to get a response back is always larger than 40 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds, sorry. So that's why I set 400 milliseconds. So now if I click on send, I'm gonna receive an error, an exception. Here you can see it says that you cannot send a test request, and the reason is that the response is larger than the allowed maximum size. To get the response, please adjust the limit. And if you click OK, it will just not do anything because it was error. So in order to get your APIs to work, you can go to the project settings and then just modify this number to let's be conservative, and then hit send. Okay, so as you can see here, changing the max size configuration works because the actual time it takes is just 500 milliseconds. So like I said, this max size configuration and then timeout configuration allows you to test, to first of all test the acceptance criteria of your API test in terms of the amount of time users have to wait for your APIs to complete. And second of all, it helps Katalon Studio. It prevents Katalon Studio from freezing or hanging indefinitely so that you can continue your work meaningfully. Okay, so just to recap all of the features that I presented to you. The first of all is mobile selector strategies. We support new locators. We support generating locators automatically for strategies, and it will improve the execution speed, particularly if you are testing on iOS. And then we support a new feature to migrate from Selenium IDE project to Katalon Studio seamlessly. Test cases are mapped to test cases, and test suites are mapped to test suites. And then next thing is that we have to improve the speed and ease of your development process by providing inline documentation and groupings of custom keywords. And finally, we made improvement on API, particularly in allowing you to specify the response size timeout and the API timeout. Oh, by the way, you can configure these API and response size timeout on project level, on test case level, and then on test object level. It's in the documentation. You can just browse the documentation. A lot of information is in there. Okay, so that concludes my session. Gonna hand things back to Young for the QA.
All right, thank you, Tan. Thank you, Tam. You guys done a great job. So let's see, there's not much of time left for the Q&A section. So we try to cover as much as we can. And then for the other question that we haven't covered today, we will give you guys the answer later in the forum. Okay, let's see. Right, the first question is how many times can a retry functionality be used? So technically, the number of retry is depend on your configuration. So normally it will depend on how you deal with flagging it. So the retry features and mainly for dealing with flagging it, and you guys know already. So but you can input any number in Katalon Studio for that. Thank you, Ty, for the showing the how we can configure the retry. All right. So for the recording, it will be sent out via email to you later. Yeah, we have documentation for the features already in Katalon docs. Is there a way to import Selenium WebDriver test cases? So right now, other than Selenium IDE, we also have the capability to import from Selenium with TestNG framework, of course, in Java. So if you have Selenium test cases in TestNG framework written in Java, so you can import to Katalon Studio. You can find the features in the documentation. Katalon test file in Docker Chrome browser, but they can find local Chrome. Okay, I think it's it better to have the logs of what's going on. So you can submit the log to the forum. So we have people to investigate the problem for you. I at first, as I know, it had to tell whether this is problem E, but we need to log to in order to investigate the problem. So one of the common problem is you might not have like API key with the runtime engine, I think, but it can be some other problem. So we need your log to investigate. What's mobile strategy is the most stable and the best to you in your opinion? So as we show in the demo already for iOS, we have like iOS class chains for determine the element. So it's much better in terms of iOS than XPath. So you can try that option in our new version 7.6, and you can experience the different. Right. So the Katalon function, well, when installed in Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7. So actually we have a customer already working with Katalon with Red Hat. We did a couple of minor fix for the customer already. So you can make a try if it's work for you, but hopefully it can be fine. All right, so I think this we already have covered 1 hour of the webinar today. So for the recording of the webinar again, we will send to you guys later. For the question that we haven't covered in this webinar today, we will have a summaries in the forum. So we will have upcoming webinar cover not only for the new release that we have monthly in Katalon Studio, but also for other topic. So thank you your time today, and stay tuned. Thank you very much.